What's up, y'all? It's your girl V with Reality Recap here for another Tea Talk. Here to discuss last week's episode of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Yes, I'm late, but always on time with my unsolicited thoughts. I'm still catching up from the holiday. So look out for this Tea Talk right here. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe on my YouTube channel. Also, coming right up, I have the Love and Marriage Huntsville and Bell Collective Tea Talk. And live later today at 5:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I have Love and Hip Hop Miami, last night's episode. We're going to do a live tea talk for that. So make sure you keep it locked, set your alerts. And of course, again, please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Now, let's get into it. I do want to say this episode of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, while always entertaining, shady, and fun, it also had a compelling component to it with Mary and the conversation she had with her son. It is definitely one of the realest conversations we've seen on the Housewives or on reality TV. It was heart wrenching to watch. I cried like a baby. That's honestly how I know I connect with a cast when I feel their emotions. And I'm trying not to cry right now, but it was it was just sad yet inspiring, whether they know it or not. And just I really have no words for just, I guess, thank you to Mary and her son for sharing that. Y'all, I'm a crybaby. I'm a crier. So um I just wanted to share that before we get into the episode. Now, before I'm bawling in front of you, let's get into the episode and all things Salt Lake City. So, we did start off with Whitney and Heather planning a camping trip. And I am a huge fan of Troop Beverly Hills. I love the movie. I immediately thought about it when they were planning the camping trip. And if you haven't seen that movie, you're either not as old as I am, or you just missed out. Either way, you should check it out. I love that movie. But they're planning a little camping, team building trip for the girls. And we have Meredith and Mary. They meet up also, and it doesn't go well, which I was sad to see. I really was just watching and I was like, "Oh no, just say that different or be honest, be transparent." I will say that for me, Mary was late because we saw she was having a conversation with her son, or not a conversation, but dealing with, her son and just thoughts of what's going on with him, trying to check on him before she left. And I will say it spoke volumes to me that Meredith, when she made outreach to her son and her daughter and was talking about what had happened, or Mary was late and she was saying like, this is totally out of character for Mary. Something must be going on because this just isn't like her. And for me, that spoke volumes that, only a true friend really knows you, right? So for her to pick up on or sense that something may be wrong, to me is a sign of a good friend. So I was hoping that the conversation would go better than what it was, because Meredith honestly was spot on with her intuition. Mary came in late, and it was clear, honestly, that Mary honestly doesn't have the bandwidth right now to us, because we know what's going on. She doesn't have the bandwidth to deal with, the petty drama. And like I said, I just really wish the conversation would have went better. I felt like when Mary came in, Meredith's like, Is everything good with you? I just wanted her to be like, hey, we had this situation. I left. I know I apologize for storming out, but you did say you wanted me out. Um, but I get it was if I couldn't stop yelling, but I took it offensively. I left, and I just feel like as your friend, is there something going on? You seemed a bit on edge. You're really late today, and that's just not like you. I'm reenacting what I wanted the conversation to go like, but Meredith starting off the conversation with everything all right with you? You're late, and that put Mary on this fence, and it just didn't go as good as I would hoped. I still feel like this isn't anything that should end a friendship, and hoping they can get over it. Excuse me, guys. I have not been getting to sleep at night. But I really hope it's something that they can get over. And I also just wish in that conversation, Mary, probably not the time to share a full disclosure of what's going on with her son, but let her friend end on and get that support that there is something major going on in her life. So sad to see that conversation not go the way I would have liked it to, and hoping that they can get back on track. There's a lot of, while that reconciliation did not go well, another one did. Lisa invited Angie out, and it's always the evil level, like an even level playing field when you have the kids involved, right? So, smart move on Lisa's part to have the kids invited for them to go to a family friendly place like the aquarium, and they were able to sit down and talk. And I still think overall, this all goes back to the Bezos dinner and Lisa finding out that Angie had talked to Whitney about Lisa being upset about the podcast and what she said, calling Lisa a villain on the Vile Files. And I understood where both women were coming from. And I wish they could have, again, got to this reconciliation sooner without all of the in between. But it makes for good TV, right? The drama, that's what we're here for. But Lisa was saying, don't talk about what me and you talk about to Whitney. That's going to change our dynamic. I'm going to feel like I can't trust you. And seeing what Angie has said to Whitney, it wasn't in a shady or mean manner. It was more so like, hey, heads up, you may want to have a conversation with Lisa. She's upset about something you said on the podcast. Angie really was trying to be a peacemaker in a situation when sometimes staying out of it is the best bet, but she didn't have any ill intentions. So I just wish, sooner they could have had that conversation. We did get a whole lot of arguing, shadiness, and fun out of it. But it was good to see them be able to at least to say, listen, I just wanted you to hear me, understand me. I'm not jealous of your relationship with Whitney. I just want you to have my back even a little more, because this friendship you're forming with Whitney, it kind of looked like you're on her side, right? You didn't stick up for me or say anything when she accused me of this whole Alibaba situation with the jewelry. You stayed silent in that. And I just want you to, not that I need you to fight my battles, I just need you to be there a little bit more. And Angie saying, like, I appreciate that. I do get quiet in conflict. She talked a little bit about her growing up with her mom, which we'll get to how I'm feeling about that in a second. Also, Angie made it clear that she is her friend, but she's not going to be a yes man, right? She's not going to go along with everything Lisa says, and she's going to call her out on stuff when she feels like it's necessary. And that's a true friend. So I'm hoping that they can move forward from this. That's another friendship that I love to see, a good duo, and just hoping they have each other's back and can move forward from that as well. Now, just how I'm feeling about Angie. I go back and forth with Angie. In the first season when she came on and the whole like situation with Jen and all of this and how she was talking, I didn't feel like that was her authentic self. I did think it was demeanor or facade that she was putting on to get a place on the show. And she got the place on the show. She's here. She's, got her snowflake. And sometimes I feel like it's genuine with her. In the moments, she's fun. I love her on the show. But then, like, the kicking the chair back when they were at the Harley Davidson Museum and fighting, or just even talking about her mom on the show, sadly to say, with her father and her wearing the shirt that says like best daughter. Some of it doesn't come off authentic to me. Sometimes I have a side eye with Angie. I'm just being honest that it's almost in the same boat with Mia on Potomac, where I feel like in her head she has what she thinks is the perfect housewife formula, where I give the drama, I have beef with the women, I'm giving you transparency in my family life. And some of this stuff feels staged to again stake her claim on the show. And also the overly use of I'm Greek, I'm Greek, I'm Greek, I'm Greek is starting to get a little bit annoying to me. I do like Angie on the show. I just have those thoughts right now. And I sometimes side eye her. So I just had to be honest about that. um, it's the day of the camping trip. And Angie and Mary's car ride is so shady. I was cracking up the whole time. Mary said that it took her an hour to get to Meredith. She's telling Angie about what happened with Meredith in the conversation. And she said it took me an hour to get to her because she rent Airbnbs an hour away. So it took me an hour to get from my house to where she is. Maybe if she rented her Airbnbs in Salt Lake, I wouldn't have to go that far. So it was shady. I was cracking up. And Angie saying that, Meredith was all worked up at the Tiffany's luncheon, but she didn't forget to grab her party favor. So she wasn't that worked up. They were so shady. And I loved it. In the other car, Meredith is telling Bronwyn and Lisa that Mary said that she plays victim, that she stormed out of her luncheon. And, Bronwyn and them, they have Meredith's back. They're saying, "You're not the victim. Oh my God, where do you guys go from here?" And they're telling them that, again, Mary stormed out of their meeting. So they get a little shady too, where Bronwyn is saying, she talks about Whitney and Heather and how she is surprised that she was invited. Even after they have so-called squashed their beef, Bronwyn and Heather, she was surprised to be invited. But even more surprised that Heather and Whitney was throwing the event today. She says that Whitney has been saying things about Heather that was not so nice. So, I'm all on the edge of my seat trying to see, okay, what's going to happen at this camping trip. They all get there. And sidebar, May Lee is there. And I literally put tomatoes, if you can see it. Tomatoes, boo, tomatoes, tomatoes. I don't know. May Lee has minimal filming. I'm not sure why she's even included, but she's there nonetheless. But she doesn't really add anything to this cast unless there's something coming up later in the season that I'm just not privy to or waiting for. I'm not sure why she was added even as a friend of. But we're at the camping trip. Brittany's there. She has another update about her and Jared. They went to a concert to see Donnie in Vegas, and they just can't seem to stay broken up. And he says that he's really in love with her and yada, 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 still stringing her along. But she's also dating 10 guys, 3 of them seriously. And then we get Heather all worked up talking about this docking and soaking and hot dog in the bun and no moving and somebody jumping on the bed. Like, girl, it's just too much. Like, I don't want to hear about Jared anymore. I don't want any more announcements from Brittany. And I don't need any more lessons from Heather on how in the Mormon culture they get around doing the do. Like, I know her daughters have to be so embarrassed when she's having these conversations, but I don't need any more of that. We're already getting that over on Secret Lives of Mormon Housewives. So on Mormon Wives. So we're already getting that. We're good on that, Heather. The girls sit down to eat, and Angie confronts Brittany. She's saying, like, you was upset the last time I saw you because I brought wine to your church gathering at your house, but yet you had text me saying thank you for the wine. So I'm just trying to figure out, sis, are you mad or are you not? So she she Brittany then says that she just found it odd. And I would too. If I'm having a church event, I have church folks in my house, and you bringing me liquor, probably not the best idea. I don't think Angie had any ill intentions, but just it's proper etiquette to bring a gift when you go to someone's home, especially for the first time. So I think that's all Angie was thinking of it, and Brittany took it offensively and was just expressing that. Um, And Meredith kind of jumped into saying that, like, I don't think Brittany is upset with you, but more so expressing how she felt. And Mary jumps in and says, no, Brittany's two-faced. And, and Meredith jumps right back in and saying, like, Brittany was not trying to shame Angie, but express how she felt. And Mary says, well, let's resort back to manners and etiquette, like you, Meredith. Walking out my house was rude. And I do think that, Mary's saying, well, I was talking to the both of you. I was talking to you both, you and, Angie and Meredith, that you both were yelling and screaming. And I was saying to the both of you, can't stop yelling, get out my house. But was she actually kicking Meredith out? No, that wasn't her intentions, but that's how Meredith took it. But she thinks Meredith walking out was rude. Um, Brittany jumps in it. It's like watching a WWE match where everybody's like tag or jumps into the ring. So Brittany jumps back in and saying, well, you asked her to leave. And Mary told her, shut up. I said, well, damn, etiquette is out the window, I guess. But Mary says again, she was talking to the both of them. She wasn't actually kicking her out, and that Meredith leaving was rude. Meredith doesn't think it was rude. And then here comes Whitney. Whitney jumping in and saying, "Well, Meredith can hold a grudge. She's a grudge holder. She's playing Lisa's game." And here comes Lisa. We got another tag in. Doop. Lisa comes in and she literally throws Bronwyn under the bus. After Bronwyn told her that Whitney wasn't saying nice things about Heather. So she's like, "Oh, Heather, why don't you ask Whitney or ask Bronwyn what Whitney's been saying about you?" Completely threw her under the bus. I was like, damn, Lisa. But, Bronwyn says that, well, I was surprised you're having this event. And, Whitney, you were saying things like you think Heather won't have your back because she's cool with Lisa and y'all are at odds. And Heather really is just saying, like, well, that's not offensive. That's how she's feeling. I already know that. So I don't know, guys. Bronwyn is another one that I'm side eyeing. I do like her fashion. I think she can hold her own with the rest of them. And she can be shady, just like the rest of them. Talk behind each other's back, just like the rest of them. But it's something about the snitching or the telling of what she's had a conversation with Whitney and going back and tell Lisa and kind of giving Lisa that ammo, even though Lisa shouldn't have thrown her under the bus. I side eye her a little bit anyway. Again, great addition to the cast. I think she's great. I love having her, but just in how she's handled a few of the situations and telling on things, I side eye her a little bit as well. But Angie jumps in then and said, Bronwyn, well, you said that Whitney and I could never trust Lisa. And that absolutely was not the conversation they had that day where they were all walking with them big, ridiculous coats on. That was not the conversation that they had. And Bronwyn made that clear. Like, no, you two said that Lisa's going to fuck me over, that I can't trust her. And I was speaking up for Lisa and said, I have not experienced that part of her, which is exactly how the conversation went. Angie latches on to the fucked you over part, and she's holding on to that, say, I never said that. That didn't come out my mouth. You If that wasn't your exact words, it was in the ballpark, sis. But she kind of holds on to those words, and she says, like, maybe you need to borrow Meredith's hearing aids and turn them up. And here is a perfect example where Meredith is acting like a victim. She makes it about her and saying, like, oh, that was offensive. You were making fun of impairments. And she wasn't making fun of anybody's impairments. It was a shady joke, probably not the best, but she was not making fun of anyone. That wasn't her intentions or anyone's impairments. But this would be a situation where all of this is going on and Meredith's going to turn it on herself and make it about her, which she does pretty often. So I have to agree with what Mary said. Um, what else happened? I'm trying to read my notes. Bronwyn was, right there, and she had Lisa's back, in this conversation because, they started jumping on Lisa, saying, she's this, she's that, and Bronwyn had her back, but Mary jumps in and says, like, it is true. Lisa, you play games, you're fake, you tell lies, and it all seems to be stemming from this whole Fendi jumper that was on the runway. And her, I guess she's saying, oh, you lied about saying that you have a shopping person or connect in Milan. And Lisa saying, I don't have to lie, I was on the runway front row when the jumpsuit came down and you had to go get yours off the hanger. That makes Mary even more upset, and she goes off, just you're fake, you're phony, you're this. She went off. They blow the whistle because they got this little camping whistle. They blow, whistle is blowing, and Whitney asks that everybody take a minute and calm down and speak. But and they did. It was quiet for 2 seconds, and Meredith jumped right back in. Well, I think that talking about the hearing aid was offensive, and it wasn't funny. And I was like, victim. Overall, listen. Bronwyn had a point. With all of this going on the tag team and all everybody jumping in and arguing, Bronwyn had a point that it's natural for you to say things about your friends, and sometimes it's shady and it can be funny when you're cool with that person, and when you're at odds and you're talking shit, it can be perceived a different way. But for them to think that everyone's going to just have your back all the time, nothing shady or funny is ever going to be happening, it's just not realistic. Especially, it would not help the show. This makes for the good Salt Lake City that we love. So it doesn't mean that someone isn't loyal to you, what have you. And if sometimes you could say something shady because you've already said it to that person's face, or you have no problem saying it to their face. So I don't get where Mary's coming from. Like, she jumped down Lisa's throat. And again, I guess she has stuff going on and she's triggered and annoyed and she went off. But that was really left field because her and Lisa haven't had any beefs this season. So that was really left field how that came about. Um, and I didn't think it was called for. Because you're going through things doesn't mean you get to rag on other people. So I don't know where this leaves Lisa and Mary, but I'm interested to find out. Everyone pretty much gets upset. Bronwyn leaves, and I feel like the group was worse. They left worse off than when they got there, and this was supposed to be like a camping trip to help them. So that was not productive at all. Um, Next we see Meredith host a Shabbat dinner, and I said to myself, last time we saw a Shabbat dinner was on Roni, the Black Shabbat dinner that went totally left and terrible. So I'm hoping this one wasn't the same. Um, it was also awkward, I have to say, to see Brittany and Heather meeting Todd for the first time, Brown's husband, after all the shit they were talking about him in the prenup, and he's too old, and she's a gold digger, and she's not really attracted to him. And I'm sure Brown was told them all of that. You could see it on his face, or just maybe that's just his face because he always just looked like that. So I don't know, but that was awkward and hilarious for them to have to meet him after saying all of that. They're at the table talking about family history, and I don't know what made Todd decide to share that he had ran a background check on Brown when they were dating. What the fuck does that have to do with Ancestry.com? I have no idea. But when he did that, Heather latched on. All she needed was ammo, child. He gave it right to her. Her antennas went right up. Like, interesting. You did a background check. Very interesting. So I was like, Todd, not the audience to be telling that. And why is it that he can say whatever he want out of his mouth, but he polices everything that Bronwyn says? Um, because the ladies are discussing the camping event and how it went, and Bronwyn's doing a little cussing and she's talking about herself, and he's like, "Don't say that. Don't say that about yourself." He literally was policing everything he said, but you could tell the whole table you did a background check on her and that she got expelled from the university she was going to. I don't get that. He's still their relationship is like slowly not unraveling, but being revealed to us piece by piece every week. And he definitely, I told you guys, I went from, because Angie said that he seemed like such a teddy bear, thinking he's this quiet, nice guy, CEO guy that travels and has a lot of money, to just seeming controlling, rude, um, coming off as a father to her more than a husband. And I don't know how I feel about their relationship. It also makes me feel like, what happens behind closed doors? I don't know. But I'm I ain't gonna say I'm concerned for her, but it just doesn't seem like as loving and supporting as we thought it was. Or as I thought it was. Let me say that. I don't want to speak for y'all. Um Meredith also talks about Mary, and she seems sad. She seems sad about how it went down. They've been friends for a long time. Again, I really hope they can reconcile. And again, she said that something may be going on with Mary, that she's speculating that something could be going on deep or personal that she doesn't know about. And she's right. We cut to Mary talking to her son, and he admits to substance abuse issues that he's having, thoughts of unaliving himself. And it was, I can't spend too much time on it because y'all saw I was already about to cry when I started, but it was just such a compelling conversation. And Mary being honest with us, saying she kind of buried her head in the sand or ignored him, hoping that the situation would go away. And, she feels guilty because with that time, with her head buried in the sand, it seemed like it got worse with all the different substances that he has tried or talked about. And I just put myself in her shoes at that moment. If my child was to tell me they felt like they didn't have a place in the world, or they didn't belong here, or they didn't want to live anymore, and just being scared, wanting to help them, but also knowing that you can't do anything unless they want it for themselves. It was a gut wrenching conversation, a real conversation. And we did learn on Watch What Happens Live. Mary says that Robert Jr. is in a much better space now, and that we saw also recently that he did enter a treatment facility. So we're praying for Mary and her son, and praying for his safety, his deliverance out of his addictions, and that he just grows to his full potential, because it seemed like from everything she said he was a straight A student all through school, and not sure where things took a turn, but just hoping that he gets the help that he needs and he continues to move forward. But again, just thank you, Mary, for that conversation. It was really, really eye opening, relatable, and just real and raw. And I appreciate her and her son for sharing their story and their journey. But yeah, before I start crying, those are my thoughts on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. New episode tomorrow. I will make sure you have a sneak peek, and make sure that you guys let me know your comments on this video, your thoughts on the episode. So much more to come this season. We're just getting started, and I'm truly, truly enjoying this season. Every episode just tops the last one. When you think that it was as good as it could get, it just keeps going. And I just truly love this franchise and love this season so far. Now, before I get out of here, if you have a business or a product that you want me to promote, my promotional rates are on my page. You can reach out to me in DM or message. Also, I'm looking for sponsors for the podcast. So if you are open to having your business or your product promoted on all my podcast shows, if you're interested in either promotion on the page or sponsorship, you can DM me, message me, or email me at what you see above, reality_recap@yahoo.com. Also, if you want to support monetarily, you can with my Cash App, $ reality recap, no underscore but spelled. Follow, which welcome new followers. We continue to grow. Thank you. And I appreciate your support. Also, please, if you're watching, like, share, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I appreciate it. And I appreciate all of your support. Now, before I get out of here, as I always say, reality TV stars are humans too, and we've learned that especially from this past episode of Salt Lake City. So again, reality TV stars are human too. Don't forget that. It's your girl V with Reality Recap, and stay tuned for more recaps and a live recap later today on Love and Hip Hop Miami. Y'all have a great day. Peace.